to find her home had been burglarized. One of our officers on nights took that and ran with it and tracked this individual down. She had credit cards that were stolen. Those credit cards were used at 4 locations just across the border in Warren County. 2 subjects arrested in relation to those purchases and the receiving stolen property on those credit cards. And the criminal investigation section is following up on the home break-in portion of that. So that was a really nice arrest. The second one happened a couple of nights ago in front of Moeller High School on Montgomery Road. We got called for a disabled vehicle. Turns out that the vehicle in question was stolen out of the city of Cincinnati. Both occupants that were with or in that vehicle were wanted. We recovered a firearm, numerous open or outstanding warrants with those 2 guys. And to piggyback on what Mr. Holbert was saying, we've been taking a lot of guns off the street down on Reading Road. 2 or 3 weeks ago, we got 3 guns off the street in 3 days. Over 30 outstanding warrants, some prostitution arrests. So there's been a lot of positive activity down on the Reading Road corridor. We did have the overdose Sunday. Unfortunately, that was a person that was known to us, known to law enforcement, known to have drug issues, drug abuse issues, and for a time was, according to Officer Bitterman, for a time was clean and working with law enforcement at one point in time, I think. It's unconfirmed, but that's about all I have at this point in time. I do need to get with Mr. Fortin. He's been asking for some signage in his neighborhood, and I mentioned it to Mr. Bickford, but Standish, can you please reiterate or clarify exactly the types of signs you're looking for and the placement of those signs?
Yeah, this came up last year. It was actually Miss Kugler's idea, and she could not be here because of a family issue. But when our neighborhood met with Officer Bitterman at the High Point Neighborhood Watch meeting, that was something that came up, was just newer signs. Those signs have been up for probably 2 decades, I'm guessing.
The block watch signs?
The block watch, also the speed limit signs, they're all faded. And it's a nominal cost, but it's something that will get attention for anyone that walks or drives by.
Gotcha. I went out to make sure that the one on Tenderfoot near Kathy's residence was still there. It is, but it is dated. So I just wanted some clarification on that, and I'll work on that with
So yeah, there's a set on Tenderfoot, speed limit, watch sign, and then one on Conroy as well.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thanks.
Morning.
Questions? I have a question. So was the prostitution at the carousel?
No,
No, it was here.
that was not related to the case. We have reason to believe there has been some with carousel, yes. And all through that, not just in Sycamore, not just in that hotel, all through that. What happens is displacement. If the city cracks down on an area or a hotel or Sharonville or somebody like that, it's pretty frequent up in the Tri-County area. It just, to put it bluntly, pushes these working folks into other areas. So,
Okay. Parks and Rec.
Yeah, I've got 4 or 5, hopefully quick things. I have a resident that runs a crafting, scrapbooking group. They rented out the community room once, cleaned up very well, did a real nice job, everything was okay. They would like to run quarterly meetings at the community room where they do their activities and stuff. And she has asked if I would ask you guys if you would consider giving them a discounted rate if they rent 4 times or more per year. So instead of the $200 fee, they're wanting to know if they can get a discount if they do 4 or more. So I told them I'd bring it up to the board.
Are there any other requests for that you can recall?
No, not
For this, so this would be precedent setting.
Yeah.
What kind of group is this?
Crafting?
They're a crafting, scrapbooking type group, and, it's a hobby thing. But I will say that they've done a nice job cleaning up, so we don't really have to go out there and spend money.
Mike, can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Relative to this.
The Sycamore Township Civic Association is going to be establishing a historical committee. They may become an offshoot if some of the volunteers wanted to participate in that, and then through the Civic Association, they could run it for free. If you want to throw that idea out.
Okay.
Because I don't believe there's a historical society for Sycamore Township, is that correct?
Not that I know of.
So, anyway,
Denny, any thoughts?
Concerned about precedent.
Yeah, Jim, any thoughts?
You know, we could set up 5 meetings or more if we wanna do something like that, and, you know. We're setting the precedent, we'll do it, but
civic groups get to do it free. Or, you know, local groups.
I'm assuming this lady's a scrapbooker
Yes.
that brings all these people in, but they may not be residents of Sycamore, they're from anywhere. Yeah. So, no, I think that, it's not a good precedent to set if we're giving money for everybody else to reduce the money in this situation, so I would probably, I think we have regular 2 trustees on this.
A follow-up question, is there a demand for the room a lot? I mean, how many times is it rented a month? Might be revenue
It's
for,
used maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, certain months, December, it's used every weekend, plus during the week. Other months, I think March coming up, we've only got 2 or 3 people in there. So it just varies month to month.
Okay, what else you got, Mike?
Okay, but what should I,
Well, I think we all agree that we probably don't wanna set the precedent.
Not at this time.
okay. I would like to add.
By the way, just let me add that this scrapbooking lady, she's probably making money off the deal.
Could be.
Yeah, I'm sure she is. Because she brings these people in and sells them a bunch of stuff, and they all do scrapbooking together, and that's, she
Okay.
makes money off it, so.
Okay, no, it's just something I told her I'd bring it to the,
Okay.
bring it to the board. On our vendor application for the festival, I would like to add under eligibility criteria, number 4, because we've been getting more demand for it every year. Number 4 would be food trucks may apply. Eligibility for participation will be based on food truck size and space available as determined by the festival committee. The fee will be $250, which is the same as in Bruce Bay's.
Do we need to do that by motion? If so, I'll make a motion that
So this is a modification of our vendor policy?
Yes, it's an
Yeah.
addition.
Yeah, I would say yes.
I'd make a motion that the policy be amended as Mike has described.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second.
there's a second.
Motion is second, any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. LaBarber,
Aye.
Mr. Connor,
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
I have a follow-up question on the committee structure. Mr. James, Tom James, all of you may probably remember him. He had a question because there's a resolution that established the committee that Mike just referred to. Is there a list of the members of that committee?
I can get a list for you.
Okay. Mr. James requested it, so I'll have him reach out directly to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And one last thing, this is another request from a resident. She would like to know if we could establish these free libraries in either Bechtold, well, she asked for Bechtold Park. This is a possibility. I think it might even work better if you guys were to approve this in Bob Meyer Park. It's a free library where people put books in and they get taken out. Evidently, it's a very popular thing. I've given you pictures of ones. Here's some, if anybody back here wants them.
That is awesome. I think you're the first person ever to do that.
Evidently, it works very well. Now, the thing is, along with that, but, I mean, they didn't know each other, I received a request from an Eagle Scout looking for a project, and this is perfect, if you want to do it. doesn't cost the township any money or anything. They put up these free libraries, you know, you take a book, you replace it. There's a lot of them I've noticed that are actually in private residences.
Great idea.
Indianapolis, Indianapolis is loaded with these, and they are on private a lot of them are on private residences actually, and maintained by that resident as well, so, yeah, these, I mean, I think this would be a great idea to.
I thought if we did do this, it might be better in Bob Meyer Park actually, because of, you know, some of the vandalism issues we.
Well, that's what I'm gonna say, I'm wondering if maybe we do this in one place first. And
Yeah, well,
make sure-
that's what I was saying, Bob
That's kind of
Meyer.
a test
Yeah,
thing.
that's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
So if it's okay with the board, I will go ahead and try to coordinate this with the Eagle Scout project and this lady.
Before you do that, I'd say have Mr. Desai and Mr. Miller come up with some sort of agreement that holds us harmless if this group puts this in our parks, what our responsibilities are,
Okay.
just so you're not all of a sudden becoming a library.
Good idea.
Also, the other thing, we may want to look at a size type requirement and a location type requirement. Obviously, we don't want it in the right of way. So if it continues and let's say a resident wants to put it on their property, it definitely, we can look at that option too. But I think size and I think keeping it out of the right of way is critical.
That's what I think, obviously, we would have approval rights on where it goes in any of our parks, certainly.
You might wanna just see who else is doing this, like Indiana, like I said, Indianapolis got a lot of them. They probably have a whole, you know, it can only be this size, it's gotta be,
Okay, I'll
it's
check.
gotta be sealed from the rain, all that stuff. We probably wanna be able to put that together, appropriately before we
Okay.
say we wanna do it, so you might wanna just check into that.
Okay, there's a bunch of them I know in Blue Ash and a bunch in Montgomery.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, good, oh, that's good.
Fort Thomas has had these for years. so
Fort
you might
Thomas?
want- Yes.
Okay,
It's
good,
very well
that's another
secured.
opportunity for us to find out exactly what kind of guidelines we're saying.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's all I've got.
Okay, any questions?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wait,
One more thing. Festival bands, you all got the list. I did check on, I was asked to check on Tommy James and Sean Dells. Believe it or not, they are now up to $50,000. I talked to their booking agent last night.
As you recall, when we had them last, they were at 35, we offered them 25, we offered them 20. They came back the next day and said they were insulted by that $20,000 offer, so we waited a week and offered them 25, and they said, we're in. So,
hey, go back, can you go back and
Salted.
do a second, ask them the major again and go down lower? And see what Tommy's, I don't see how Tommy's
Yeah,
getting 50,000, honestly,
part
there's
of-
so many shows on it.
just so that you know, part of his rider is a suite for Tommy, 11 other hotel rooms for 2 nights, back line, ground transportation, that whole bit. And the manager promises me that he won't chase me around saying, where's my money?
Yeah, I want cash, even though the
he wanted
contract
cash
says.
last time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And the other thing was, I think, didn't he drive in a limo from
Yes.
Pittsburgh?
from Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Well,
Do you guys have any thoughts? So I'm thinking somebody like maybe Tom Waite, who had several hits with different bands
Mike,
and
I
solo.
I took your, website link, and I filtered it by under 25,000.
Right.
And, with basically the same types of music that we have had in the past that we know have been good draws for our crowds. And I know we're running the risk as the prices go up, the bands that fall into that price range tend to be the older bands, and sometimes you're worried about, do they still appeal to enough of a broad audience, but, I got a list of ones that I came up with between the other list you gave me and, that website.
Just the Turtles, their agent told me that they had, the Turtles.
They had a lot
Turtle.
of, they had a lot of hits.
They had a lot of hits.
Yeah, a lot of hits, yeah.
I've worked with it.
He said they have raised their price very high because they really are not interested in touring much anymore.
And that might be the same reason Tommy James went up as well.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think But
Yeah.
the bottom line to it is that, you know, I have been vocally supportive of the festival, and I still am, but I'm also recognize the fact that we want to manage the costs. And I would like to see us, as a next step in your planning process, while we're, you know, checking into these bands and see if they are still within the price ranges that they said they are, I would like to see us lay out a budget for festival. We know what some of our fixed costs will be for individually, but at the end of the day, what we're gonna end up with is, we're gonna have a band cost, and we're gonna have a sponsorship, revenue intake, and I think we need to balance those two out.
Totally agree.
The more, you know, the more sponsors we get, the more we can afford to spend on bands. If we don't get good sponsorship response, that's gonna limit how much we spend. So I would encourage you to work with Greg to kind of work out what the costs are, and then the variable at the end becomes, what can we get in sponsorship money, and as a result, then what can we spend on bands?
I agree with you. Looking at that list you gave us, the Zombies now, if it's Cole and Blundstone,
It is.
that's 30,000, they're going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So, and they had, you know, he's a legendary performer. And I've worked with Felix, and we got the Rascals, that's, Felix is the lead singer. You don't want Gino and Eddie and, you know,
That's
Gino.
on- they're
So
on
you-
the list.
Yeah, that's what I said, Felix is good, Hall of Fame, he's also in the Hall of Fame. And, well, one thing I want to mention, that last meeting, we were talking about the cost, and Greg and Tom came up with, what our surrounding areas are paying. And I talked with, Brian Riblett, the city manager of Montgomery, and it is an event that happens every year, second Saturday in July this year. The cost estimate is $80,000, and he told me it's high end, they're showing the 80,000, because he includes soft costs, the police, the fire, and then staff for regular people who are on duty anyway. And the beer and the wine, the revenue, they do carry the revenue from that to offset the total cost. It's not included in the $80,000 figure. They have booths, about 15 to 17 vendors. It's definitely a family event, 2 blocks in downtown Montgomery. The bands they have playing are at different ends of the event, local. That's why when they get placed in that Mystics, they're pretty good. Rusty Griswolds, Naked Karate Kids. They do have a game area for kids with pony rides. Now, Blue Ash, 4th of July, the red, white, and blue, January 16th. I talked with former mayor, council member now Lisa Wonka, and Tom had mentioned, we had talked about a figure around 300,000. It's north of 200,000, in the $300,000 figure you're looking at. Estimated figures, though, he'll spend on a national act $75,000. Fireworks are $80,000. The bulk of it, though, is covered by major sponsors, and their out-of-pocket is about $75,000. Now, Summit Fest, that replaced the Taste of Blue Ash last year. It's one-day event, these are one-day events. Cost around $100,000. Sponsors pay most of it, out-of-pocket, $25,000. They get cut of the alcohol sales also, and both of them stress they are both family events. And the acts they schedule, kind of like the Super Bowl. How can you have those bleeps, all the bleeps out of the acts of the Super Bowl? Anyway, they are family-friendly acts, and the kids' activities, they have inflatable stuff, and weekly concerts in the park are almost 100% sponsored. So, just to give you that little background to add
So,
to
Mr. LeBron, did you ask Mr. Zawaka to send you the actual numbers, or is this off the top of his head?
This was, yeah.
Because I did get the actual numbers from them a number of years ago, they were north of 300,000. So I
but
think
I'm
what
saying,
might,
but-
if you wanna make a comparison, I think it'd be fair just to make the comparison by actually making a records request to Blue Ash and asking them for their actual numbers, because I think you'll find those to be different than those numbers you just recited.
Well, the numbers I was giving you was one out of pocket.
These were net numbers. These were net numbers cost to the city.
I
I
think
had
what
them-
Tim's saying is the cost of their events are in line with ours.
They are,
Kinda what I'm
especially since
concerned
ours
with.
is,
They
it's a
exceed
2-day
ours.
event,
Except
those are all one-day events.
Except they're getting from major sponsors money back, to offset a lot of the cost.
But they're still spending
Yeah,
$75,000.
exactly, but they're getting money back. so there's not
But
that.
they're still
Exactly.
spending.
Yeah, those are, I think the Blue Ash ones are
Proportionately
more
with us,
regional
if not
events.
more.
Ours in Montgomery, I think, is more of a local type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
And we're 2 days, they're 1 day.
so are you guys directing Mike to keep moving? Is kind of what I'm
Yes.
hearing?
Yeah, I mean,
Work on
that's-
I don't
sponsors?
think there's any change from the previous
No,
one.
there isn't. I was just saying, I would recommend that we sort of lay it out in a budget form.
I think that's probably the best idea.
And then we can kind of track it as we go.
Just for curiosity, would you read off some of the names he has that, let's see if we're on the same page? Because,
Oh, I have Turtles, I have Felix.
and then the Turtles, it could be difficult. I mean, I was with the Turtles one night, and there was thunder off of the side of Middletown. They paid them a lot of money, there was thunder. Mark said, no, we're not
They
going on.
didn't go on?
They wouldn't go on, refused to go
What happened
on.
with, Blue Oyster Cult?
No, they went on,
Oh, did they?
back when they wouldn't come off.
Oh, Mark Farner also played for the Lightning Storm. as
Yeah.
well. They
More
had to
cowbell.
drag him off the stage.
Actually, Blue Oyster Cult is one of these bands I put in there to recommend, price one.
Get a professional discount on any of these? Once you have stories you can share and then they'll
We used to
give
get
us a discount?
$5,000 net, like a Lou Christie, I mean, they had a lot of hits, going timeframe the same
Right.
as we're looking at. And now,
Well, you can,
if you're saying 50,000 for Tommy, I just,
you can thank the casinos.
Yeah.
And the other thing is probably, like you think Jim said, the Turtles, they wanna do less shows.
So, yeah.
So they raise their price if they get it, great, if they don't.
Steppenwolf is the same way, John Kay, Steppenwolf, he just doesn't really wanna go, and he figures, if I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna make a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, some of these guys aren't spring
what's
chickens.
he talking about? What's he interested in? What's, Johnny K, what's he want?
60,000. That's the latest I've heard.
Okay,
That's all I've got.
all right, thank you. Any questions?
Thanks for doing that.
Mr. Bickford, Bechtel Park Pavilion.
Okay, Bechtold Park Pavilion, as you know, I don't know if Tracy had presented before, we opened bids. As you know, Bechtold Park Pavilion literally fell apart on us, and we're working with insurance to recover some of those costs. But we opened bids on the project. The apparent low bidder was Leo J. Brillmayer Company in the amount of $262,000. The next lowest bid was Schweitzer Construction at $274,000. We have prepared a resolution for consideration, actually awarding it to the second lowest bid, Schweitzer Construction. Now, there's two reasons for that. The first reason is Leo